What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another About Teams video. And in today's episode of our MLB segment, we're going to be doing, just doing 5 teams, American League. What moves should they make at the trade deadline, to either make the playoffs, or we can either do a buy or sell, like maybe what team should sell. I'm very interested to see where you go with this, Nick. Obviously, you're more of a baseball fan than me, so I'll let you start. You cook up first with what you think needs to happen first.
All right. So first move that I've been talking about that I'm dead set on. I've thought about outside of the podcast. I think the Royals should, and I'm going to predict will trade for Edwin Diaz from the Mets. He's had a bad year for the Mets. He's been pretty inconsistent with them. He's on a really big contract. The Mets are in a bad spot right now with all the guys they're paying. They're on the brink of losing Alonso as well. He could be another trade guy, but I think Diaz will get dealt to a team, and I think he will get dealt to the Royals. They're a team that doesn't really have a set closer right now. They have a lot of money, and they've got good young prospects that they can send over to the Mets, which will help clear up the Mets cap space and maybe try to rebuild over in New York. So that's my first. That's probably the one I'm most set on.
Yeah. Very good one. For me, I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to go up to the border. Toronto Blue Jays. I think Vlad Guerrero Jr. will be traded. I think they should trade him. Obviously, we've kind of seen that dip in production since his great 2021 season, I believe it was. Still a really good ball player. Average going back up. He had a big 4-hit game a couple days ago. But, Toronto, they're not going anywhere. They've kind of hit that ceiling that they were a wild card team that gets swept. First round, I believe it was to the Mariners, and then last year to my Minnesota Twins. But I don't know where Vlad's going to go to. That's a whole nother video we can do on obviously one of the most, big names in baseball. But Toronto, they got to move on. They've kind of hit the ceiling, and they could get a haul back for Vladdy. But yeah, I just think, or at least a very elite prospect. I just think, Toronto, they've, like I said, have hit their glass ceiling, and I don't really think there's no point saving this season. You got New York, Baltimore in that division, the 2 best teams. At bet, if you were somehow to make it, it'd be as a bottom wild card team. All right, then what's your prize? Losing to the Yankees in 2 games? There's no point. With that being said, for me, it's for Toronto, trade Vlad Guerrero Jr. while you can.
Okay. Yeah. I'll actually get into that because I also wrote that down.
Sweet. Great minds think alike.
I said he's going to get traded because, they're going to have to decide between paying him or Bo, and I think they're going to go with Bo. I think he's kind of shown he's a more consistent bat and a better fielder. But I think he gets dealt to the Mariners, and I think the Mariners are going to send back George Kirby, good young stud pitcher, and probably a prospect or 2 to Toronto.
Yeah. Well, then this will leap in with my next one, which was Seattle trade for any quality bat, man, because you guys obviously got Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, and George Kirby, but you have that in the trade package. For me, Seattle trade for anyone, like any bat that is good. Just do what you can. It's unreal how good their pitching is, how awful their offense is. They're still first in the American League West because the second best team is 4 games below 500. So for me, Seattle, just trade for any bat if you want to be a true contender because, boy, in Vlad Guerrero, that's good. That's a good one. That might bleed in. Might have that combo. That kind of kills 2 of mine with 1 stone. So
right, it's both the team's needs. Like you just said,
exactly. You got to. But with that being said, though, what's your next one?
Okay, next one down the list. Not talking about the Mariners one because that's further down, but going into the Red Sox.
Oh my god,
bro! Do not be rolling your eyes, bro. Don't be rolling.
Red Sox.
I'm talking about AL teams. What do you want me to do? I've got 18.
Well, I thought we were talking about real teams, real playoff
teams. If they're where they are now, which is I think a game or 2 out of the wild card, if they're there by the deadline, I think they'll either trade for a
I just knew
bullpen
you were going to throw the Red Sox in.
or get a bat / call up one of their prospects because their prospects have been raking in the minors. So I think a bullpen arm is probably more realistic. I don't think they're going to go, all out for anybody. That's just not what the upper offices have done the past few years. It's been frustrating, but if they're where what's
sorry
up?
to interrupt. How's that Rafaela guy doing for the Red Sox? I remember he was like making his debut against the Twins. I saw him. How's he been doing?
His average is, low just because I think he's like 22 years old. But he actually leads the team in RBIs out of the 9. Yeah. And he's incredible on defense. He made an insane catch yesterday, an insane running catch in Baltimore, which is, a pretty big part. But he's been okay. He's young. They signed him to that, Acuna type deal where it's like 8 years for $60 million. So they're paying him. They stretched out his contract, so he'll be around long term, hopefully, because he's a good, promising young player.
And then is Yoshida still injured?
Yeah, he's been injured for a while. He could be a guy that, if he comes back, could get dealt because teams who are looking for just a good, solid contact bat might want to trade for him because he's 30. He's on a somewhat team-friendly deal. He's still getting paid, I think, like close to 15 mil, just because he was a good bat out of Japan. But who knows? Who knows? If they're not even close to the wild card, like if they're 5 or more games out by the deadline, I think they sell and deal.
Fair enough.
Like they might deal O'Neill because he's been having a pretty solid year, but we'll see. The Red Sox are.
I respect it. Since you did your favorite team, it's only fair I go to my favorite team, the Twins. For me, for the Twins, could have gone a couple ways. Obviously, you could go offense, but this is going to be – I'm predicating this on playoff start. Royce Lewis is healthy. Byron Buxton's healthy. Carlos Correa. I think that lineup is fine when they're all healthy, but that's a big if. But I'm predicating this based on that. If I would say, for me, get another solid starting pitcher. If you're going into a division series, you want 3 ideal pitchers. Obviously, I like guys like Bailey Ober and Chris Paddock, but I would rather just put them in the bullpen. I want someone that I can trust going at least 5 innings. And for me, Joe Ryan, honestly, has been probably going to be the game 1 starter the way he's been pitching this year. Pablo's kind of disappointing. But when it comes down to it, I still trust Pablo. The way he pitched against the Astros, for me, he won my trust regardless, if he's going to have a couple rough starts. But for me, it doesn't need to be an ace. Just a solid secondary pitcher. Can be a solid number 3, wherever you want to go. This goes to show why I miss Sonny Gray so much, though, because he was so good. But yeah, just a solid pitcher.
They could trade for him. I mean, he's having a great year.
Wouldn't that be something?
I think he's like 7-2 right now for St. Louis. St. Louis is right now. So,
and you know what it is? Isn't it crazy? Sonny Gray, 7-2, is 1 win away from matching last year when he's had like a 2-something ERA. Just because we gave no run support. Yeah, he only won 8 last year, and he was second in ERA just with his run support. But yeah, no, I mean, just any starting pitcher that you can trust to at least go 5 innings. Obviously, he may get hit, but at least that has a solid year. Because for me right now, I wouldn't feel comfortable with Joe Ryan, Pablo, and then I don't know, Bailey Ober. I don't know about that. Just someone that you can trust, maybe like a Tanner Houck, however you pronounce it.
He ain't getting dealt, buddy.
Maybe the Twins and Red Sox could cook something up, and we'll send Christian. We'll send Christian Vasquez in that deal.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The guy who's okay. We won't get into that.
All right.
Getting dealt. But I'll get into the next one. Well, this is kind of talking about one of the bottom tier teams as of right now. And I know we talked about maybe selling, but this is actually the opposite. I said one of the biggest moves that's going to happen at the deadline is not a move, but it's the A's not trading Mason Miller, because I know his name's been thrown around a ton just because of how electrifying he is. He's got incredible stuff, but the A's they have done it so many times where they have a good young player and they just send them off. Like you gotta start rebuilding somewhere. You gotta start building around some pieces. This is a great bullpen piece, really a top 5 closer in the league right now with how good he's been pitching. And you can't just keep dealing these pieces away because you're just never gonna.
It is the A's though, so who knows what the A's are cooking
That's
up.
right, but I think if I'm talking about moves the team should do, it's keep Mason Miller. But realistically,
no, that's the smart move. That's the smart move. But who
Yeah.
knows at this point? Maybe the Yankees offer a bag of peanuts, and the A's are like, yes.
I know the asking price was like a top tier prospect. That's I think what
As it should be. Like this is like finally the A's are like have a good player and want to keep him, or at least if he is dealt at high value. Like finally, A's finally. With that being said, though, I mean, I'll go to an interesting team. The Texas Rangers, obviously last year, won the World Series this year. Kind of been disappointing. I would say for me, their move might be a bold prediction is they don't make one. I say they stay the course. They've been very injured, but you trust some of these guys will come around. Corey Seager has been one of the unluckiest hitters so far in baseball this season. I think that'll turn around. We saw Marcus Semien has done. Adolis Garcia. I trust this team. And is Max Scherzer going to come back this year?
I'm not 100% sure. I know he's got back issues and he's had that before in his past. So I think you could more so bank on DeGrom coming back.
DeGrom coming back, yeah. That's what I thought because it said maybe August.
That would be one of the biggest, acquisitions.
Yeah, that's what I was. I knew one of them was due to at least come back. I just didn't know which one. With that being said, though, for me, they just stay the course. They get healthy. They'll be fine, even despite how bad they've been. They're like 2.5 games out because Seattle's in first. My move is don't make one. Don't panic. You still got Eovaldi. You still got great players. There's no reason to panic. Everything will be all right. You'll come around. You were a great team last year and obviously won the World Series. I wouldn't panic and, sell someone and try and go all in. Just stay the course and they got into a wild card last year. They were just fine. That's my bold move. Just don't panic and don't make any unnecessary moves.
Yep. I like that. When they're healthy, they have such a good roster, but unfortunately this year they've been so banged up.
But no reason to panic because if you were like 10 games out already, all right, yeah, maybe, this isn't the year, but you're like, 3.5 out? Like, chill. One series against Seattle and you're in first place if you sweep. So that's how quickly the AL West is.
You're 3 games out playing like garbage, so.
Yeah, and if you, like I said, if you match up with Seattle right now in a 4-game sweep, you're 1 game ahead in the division. That's how easy it can flip. So, yeah, should be interesting though.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I got 2 things left. I got written down.
You cooked them up because that was all I had in the American League because you cooked up the rest of yours.
So I got going back to the AL East, the Orioles team who's really fighting for the 1 spot in the American League and in the AL East because it's going to be a dogfight between them and the Yankees. I think they trade for another arm. I think Corbin Burns, obviously is an ace that, he's proven himself with the Cy Young, but they don't really have that second guy established yet. Grayson Rodriguez has great stuff, but he's been a little inconsistent. So I'm saying they trade probably a prospect or 2 because we all know their farm system is just loaded. Absolutely. Like they have MLB players just sitting in their farm system because of how deep it is. I say they deal one of their top prospects for Jesus Luzardo from Miami. Great young lefty who was injured early in the year, I believe, but has come back and is pitching today, but has really shown in the past he can.
I like that. Didn't think about that one. I knew Baltimore needed like a pitcher, obviously, because you did get your ace in Corbin Burns, but last year really showed. I mean, you got swept as the 1 seed because your pitching was you were trotting out Dean Kramer with your season on the line. With all due respect, he's good, solid pitcher, but you go Corbin, another solid number 2, Grayson Rodriguez. I'm feeling great about that 3. But I think last year Grayson was their 1, and it was like, all right, and we'll see how it goes. But
Yeah. And it adds a lefty who right now I think they have one lefty in their rotation. He actually pitched pretty good yesterday against the Sox. The Sox got killed, but that's another story. But adding a good young lefty to that rotation would be huge. And he's a pickup for the future because I think he's like 25 or 26 years old. So I think that's another move that's made. And you said you don't have any more, right?
Yeah, no. That was kind of my American League recap. Maybe
Okay.
we'll do more of the teams. I know Royals and Guardians are a big topic.
Yeah, I got one more. Just a small. It's kind of a small one, but going into your division, the Central, I think Cleveland will trade for Taylor Ward from the Angels. He's been the Angels' best
like
hitter
that one.
since Mike Trout's been out. I think he's got 11 homers, sitting at like a 260, 270 average. But he gives them a good outfield power bat that they kind of need because right now it's been Stephen Kwan who's been, he's a great outfielder and a really good contact hitter. But Jose Ramirez has really been, and Josh Naylor has really been their two sources of power. So adding Taylor Ward to that, I think would really push them into a high caliber offense.
Yeah, no, I agree. That would be amazing, but also terrible as a Twins fan. But yeah, so kind of maybe some point later on this week or next week we'll do some key moves for NL teams, maybe buy or sell. But thank you guys for listening to our American League, trade deadline predictions. And let us know what you think, whether you agree, disagree with them. But thank you guys for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.